Hello and welcome to another episode of T4. Tips, tricks, toys, tools on the command line for our folks and other data-centric minded folks working on the command line. This series had started with the first overview 000, and we had then covered the bash shell 3 times for customizations, aliases, color, prompts, things like that. And the last 2 episodes had focused on Byobu, a terminal multiplexer. Byobu is really a text-based window manager, as it's sometimes called. I call it a terminal multiplexer as well, because you can have multiple concurrent sessions accessed concurrently, even from multiple users if you set it up that way. And it's pretty ideal for anything over the network whenever you SSH to somewhere and have terminal-based, text-based sessions. It can work on your local machine, on your server. We showed the download page and gave some examples. Here again is at byobu.org, the main website with the truly fascinating 10-minute video you should make time to watch, going over all the features at a reasonable fast pace. Also, good pointer, thanks to Aaron. There's a lot of documentation on the web that's useful. This, for example, is a good cheat sheet highlighting how all the command overlays work with the function keys rather than the somewhat cryptic key combinations that are native by the main underlying program Tmux. Byobu can work either with Tmux or with screen, and the direct commands for these two are a bit more arcane. And one of the key things that Byobu does is a nicer, more user-friendly overlay, and that has to do with the fact that Shift, Alt, Control over the function keys as well as direct function keys give good access. So as we had said, Shift F1 goes to the ASCII-based baked-in key reminder, but there are also PDFs, JPEGs, PNGs out there, as well as a good number of other tutorials. We had said, again, Shift F1 goes directly into the help, F9 goes into menu and status display. I use the prefix C and prefix A, I think that's capital A for naming, as well as all left and right for running sessions. We've seen vertical and horizontal splits, rearranging splits, zooming in and out of splits, as well as attaching and detaching sessions, as well as accessing them simultaneously. What we hadn't done is multiple sessions, and that we're going to look into briefly today. So as a recap, if I'm on a session where Byobu runs and I just say Byobu and there's only one session running, then I have that session. This is sort of my main default session here, and I'm in that. I can also ask Byobu, well, what sessions do we currently know? If there's only one, there will be only one, and it's somewhat boring. It just says, how many windows are in it, when it was created, and whether it's currently attached or detached. But say you wanted a second one, you would do that by just saying Byobu and then saying the, I think default argument is new. If you say nothing, it implies new. And then on the fly giving it a name rather than just having the sessions numbered 1, 2, 3, and so on. So now, instead of jumping into the previous one, we're explicitly saying we want a new one. And we now see that in the status, right at the bottom, the name that we've given is displayed next to the logo for the operating system and version and the number of sessions. So now I can go in my case, backtick. I'd shown how to overlay that command to the prefix command. So now I have 4 sessions, and I could name those if I feel like it. Somewhat silly names, but you could give them more explicit things. Now I have this session running. If I then go into yet another session or reconnect and then say Byobu now has a choice between 2 running sessions, and it recognizes that. So as soon as it starts, it then tells us, oh, there is the first session that we gave the name main with 17 windows, what we've seen before, as well as a new one that we just did. And now we can either start a new one again, just as we did with an explicit new, or just run a standard shell, or just break out. So in this case, I'm just going to Control C out of this, but whenever you have multiple ones, it's pretty easy to menu-based basically select to them, or you can do what I've shown here as the last command. You can just, oh, that's a typo, that should be Byobu and not Byobu, and attach the particular session with the tag or name T4, and then we're in that session. And now the same trick that I showed last time around, because the existing session out here is basically shared between these two GNOME terminals, and the smaller of the two sizes wins. In order for the display to be consistent, this has to be resized, and these are now basically dead keys or dead pixels. But now I could do something here, carry over on this session, and they're both there. And the moment I get out of this and detach this session, this one, so we're back to plain terminal, having nothing here, and this one snaps back to its full size. So that was really sort of the key between sessions. I'm not using them as much as some of the other commands, but I'm planning to do that a little bit more, because it gets otherwise too wieldy. It's the Chrome and 100 tabs problem, because I accumulate too many windows within the main session, so it might be useful to have several sessions. So again, as a reminder, one easy way to cycle is Alt, left, right, and left and right to go within this session between the different windows. And consequently, a really nice one is then Alt up or down cycles through the set of current sessions. So it makes it really easy in one Byobu session to jump to another one and then cycle in this one. So here, for example, session 0 is where I often do Debian packaging, 1 is where I have SVN checkouts, and so on. And yep, that was really what I had to say today for on the topic of Byobu and sessions. Next week we may review package management. On Friday I briefly followed up on a tweet by someone who was dismayed about how complicated it was to install on Ubuntu, and that's something I've covered before, and I chatted with him in DM, and I might get back to that because there's a new entrant on the block that I haven't really talked about, and we may put that in a small session maybe next Sunday. Otherwise, the T4 repo in my name on GitHub is for this series. You can file issues there or comment or make suggestions, and really that's all that I had today. And for once, we're a little closer to the desired time of 5 to 6 minutes. Now we're at 7, so here's the last slide with the resources and links. And that's all for today, and I'll see you next week.